Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Um, a couple of things. I want to be really clear with my objective behind this channel. This channel isn't just to do like accident analysis videos or near misses. I'm not, like I said, I'm not Blanco Lirio. I'm not any of those other guys. I'm not Pilot Debrief. My content is going to be very specific. I want it to be cockpit footage of me giving lessons to students and kind of documenting my journey to the airlines and making videos about how to help people land and do certain maneuvers. That's my ultimate goal. Once this channel gets monetized, I can leverage that ad revenue, which is, it seems pretty good for YouTube, to make videos for you guys, like videos of me actually flying with students. And I think I can make it really cool. So we're really close to that. We're about 20 subscribers away and about 2,000, no, 1,000 watch hours. So anyways, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would really help. Okay, so I know this story is long overdue. Not overdue, but I know it's been hit from multiple angles from people who are way more experienced than I know Aviation 101 did a good video on it. Blanco, Pilot Debrief. There's another one. A lot of people did a video on this because it was a big deal. And it was basically this, and we'll go over the story, and I'll provide my 2 cents on it if you guys don't mind. But it's about a CFI who records really crude things on Snapchat, of all apps, about his student calling him basically stupid and slow, and that, you know, he's lagging behind and he has weak areas. And I just want to play this video for you guys real quick because there is a moment here that's like, this is all infuriating, but there's a moment here that's particularly infuriating to me, and it's the finger tapping part. You guys will see on me. But let's watch this video and then dive into the article, okay? So if you guys can't see this, like you're commuting or something, it says, me and this student would not get along if he was my full-time student. I've seen faster at the Special Olympics. What's unfortunate about this is that this guy, this isn't even his instructor. This instructor is probably just filling in because his actual instructor was sick or something. So that's like that's unfortunate right off the bat, is that this happened, and this probably wasn't even his instructor. And also this guy is he's doing a thorough pre-check. Like, why are you crapping on this guy for doing a thorough pre-check? I don't know if it's like him doing that, you know, with intent to be sarcastic, or the actual noise itself, but it has a similar feeling down my spine, like someone chewing with their mouth open. I can't stand it. Like, it actually drives me nuts. But he says right here, it's currently 8:40 p.m. I don't have to be up at excuse me 4:30 in the morning or nothing. Let's take our sweet ass time and have conversations instead of getting this 3-hour flight done. So he's showing impulsivity here. He's showing a macho attitude, and ironically, in a way, he's showing anti-authority. Because I don't know, this guy is like, maybe not anti-authority. I think that's a little unreasonable to say because I don't think he is, but impulsivity, I would say, because this guy he's doing his best to do a good, thorough pre-check. You'd be shocked at how many students, new students, don't really understand the importance of a pre-check, right? Sumping, checking the fuel, doing this, doing that. It just wasn't emphasized by their students. So prompt to this guy for doing his pre-check. It really sucks that the instructor's crapping on him for it, of all people, but... And this is like such a weird thing to see. Like, the lack of self-awareness is actually shocking. Who do you think's going to see this and be like, yeah, I agree with you, man? Like, well, who is this for? Okay, so the student is rotating, and I don't know what. For me, I don't film while my students are rotating, no matter what level they are. That's a critical phase of flight. There could be a coyote running in the runway. The student could get slow. You could forget to take your flaps, or yeah, flap settings could be wrong. Power, like, this is a critical phase of flight. My point is, you shouldn't be filming. He says here, this is going to be a long 3-hour flight with Forrest Gump Jr. Let me tell you, he is not the smartest in his class. That is so shocking. Like, this guy is just trying to make something of himself. And you're out here and it looks like a fine rotation, right? And you're out here just insulting him. Like, the absolute gall to post this on social media too. And I'm gonna dig into this instructor. I honestly don't care at this point. He got someone killed. And I don't know. I saw some articles of people being like, he was a really nice guy and he was actually a good instructor. Nothing about this video shows me that this guy, I'm not saying he was entirely bad, but nothing about this shows me that he was being a good instructor, and nothing about this says that he was ever a good instructor. Okay, here it is again. 1.6 hours into the flight, or 1.6 hours into the flight of me giving it to him straight. And then he says, I don't need you, or I don't mind you being hard on me. I know I need it. And then the CFI says, thinking to myself, did you actually really think if I cared if you minded? But what I actually said was there were flying planes. Sorry, this is like so hard to read because this guy's grammar is so bad and there's no punctuation. But what I actually said was, we're flying planes, not driving a car. We can't have these weak areas this far into the game. And I'm like, I can almost feel the toxicity in the cockpit right now. So I bet you what's happening is that the CFI is probably beating up on the student a little bit for mistakes that he's making. And that's fine. Like, students make mistakes, okay? Students make mistakes all the time. Some more than others, but they do make mistakes. And it's your job to address that mistake, provide them an anecdote for that mistake, and move forward with the flight. But I bet you this CFI was kind of like bullying him or picking on him for it. And this student, either in humility or in shame, capitulated and said, I don't mind you being hard on me. I know I needed it. So this could be interpreted one of two ways. Either he's like a really super humble guy, or he just kind of gave in to this instructor bullying him and just being, you know, just being like, oh, I know I need it. You know, so the problem is we don't know because there's no voice recording, cockpit voice recorder in this. Obviously, it's a Cessna, or sorry, what is this, a Piper or a Cherokee, something like that? I don't know. I have the, yeah, it's a Piper. So anyways, yeah, it gets worse. Okay, just hang on tight. Okay, so this is looks like ForeFlight, and it looks okay. So see these arrows? Can I zoom in on this? No, I can't. So see these cells right here? It's based on okay. So this, I don't know if you guys can see this, but look down here in the bottom right where it says rain, and then this is basically the severity of the rain. So green, like light green, is not so bad, and then it goes up to red, dark red. That means that the dark red is really bad, and to stay away from that. And there's high levels of precipitation there, which probably also means lightning and downdrafts and just everything else that comes with the thunderstorm. And there's 3 of them. And if you look right here, this little bubble with this arrow, that shows the direction of the storm to which it's moving. So it's moving eastbound, and the speed to which it's moving, okay? And they are, guess what, east of the storm. And something about this data, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but is this data not lagged probably about 10 to 15 minutes? Isn't this called NextRad data? And it lags. So though the storm shows that it's here, wouldn't it actually be like over here already? I've noticed that this was, if I read this in a book, I think I've experimented with it once before near Legrand, but I'm pretty sure this data has a lag. That's one of the limitations of it. Okay, so they're flying directly into this storm, and it is nasty. What's so weird is that he actually even says right here, headed our way like a group of pissed off hornets. What the hell are you thinking at that? Like, I would have been able. So it looks like they were only in the air for, at least from this point, for what? I don't know. It's hard to tell distance on here, but what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, if that. So why are you not canceling the flight? Did you not get a weather brief? Did you not see these cells? Did you think that you can get around it? Do you think you can go under it? I'm really confused as to the logic of this. And it's so unfortunate that this student kind of just fell prey to this instructor, because this instructor was very negligent. This instructor did not do his due diligence. Before every single cross country I do with the student, I do my NW craft. You guys know what NW craft is if you're a student pilot? So the NW craft acronym, NW craft. This is what you're supposed to be doing before each and every single cross country. So just write it down on a piece of paper. It says NOTAMs, weather, known ATC delays, runway lengths, alternates, fuel requirements, takeoff, landings, and performance. I guarantee you that this instructor, I don't know if the student did. I don't know if he's new, or maybe they had a conversation and maybe he expressed concern and was like, hey, there's weather coming in. The CFI is like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's your job, even as a student, to question us CFIs, because sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes CFIs are negligent. If you can test the CFI and they say, I understand where you're coming from, however, this is why this is not going to be a factor, or this is how we're going to mitigate our risk. That's the appropriate way. But if the conversation was had between the student and the instructor, the student was probably just, like, nah, don't worry about it. We'll go around or whatever. And the student is like, all right, I trust you. And that was a fatal error here. But you should be doing this before every single cross country. And you know what? Look, weather's in there. So there's no reason why. And this is actually by regs. You have to do this before cross countries. I can't remember the exact reg, but you should be doing this before every single, is it 91.103? Let's actually find out. Yeah, it looks like 91.103. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's where NW craft comes from, okay? So this should have been seen way beforehand. And I wouldn't even get close to this because, yeah, it shows precip here and severe, it's moving this way, but also this is a really unstable atmosphere, okay? Really, most likely unstable, I'm assuming, depending on the pressure system that's moving through here. But I'm not even going to touch this. That is way too close to comfort. Granted, I err on the side of caution, I guess, but that just seems like an obvious no-go to me. And also, just because these cells are right here currently doesn't mean something's not going to pop up behind you and then you can't get home. You see what I mean? That doesn't mean that this isn't going to be socked in by the time you get there. So that's pretty much the end of the video. We'll kind of skim through this. We'll skim through this article just a little bit. Hang with me, guys, and then I'll provide kind of my 2 cents on how to approach this if you're a student and if you see this happening within your flight school. So the parents of Connor Quinsbury, the student killed last September in an airplane crash in Kentucky, have filed a lawsuit alleging the flight was unnecessary. Yeah, I would say so. And that the crash was avoidable. Definitely, 100%. And the result of negligence on the part of his flight instructor. 100% agree with these guys. Both Quinsbury and the flight instructor, Timothy McKellar Jr., 22, really young instructor, were killed when their Piper was ripped apart in a thunderstorm during a night flight. So it sounds like a breakup in flight. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Sweet Names, Eagle Flight Academy, were both Quinsbury's and McKellar's had done their primary flight training along with ATP Flight Center, where McKellar earned his instructor certificate. Okay, so he went to ATP first and then got a certificate there. The 28-page complaint, that is giant, filed this week by Ransdell Roach and Royce PLLC of Lexington, Kentucky, documented the events that led up to the ill-fated flight on September 27, 2023. Quinsbury, only 18 years old, had been flying with Eagle Flight Academy since April 2022. God, this guy was young. He had so much potential in life ahead of him. That's so sad. According to the lawsuit, the majority of Quinsbury's training was done with CFI Ronnie Bunn. According to McKellar's social media post in 2020, he also trained at Eagle Flight Academy. And Bunn was also his flight instructor in October of that year when he did his first solo. McKellar completed his training at ATP. ATP, man, you guys are getting a bad reputation. I don't want to sit here and crap on ATP, but I'm not hearing a lot of good things coming out of ATP right now. McKellar completed his training at ATP in Indiana, earning his instructor certificate in May 2023. On his social media pages, McKellar listed himself as an instructor pilot for ATP. According to the lawsuit, however, McKellar was employed by ATP for a brief period as a CFI, but despite having been trained and certified at ATP Louisville Flight School, he was discharged from employment by ATP due to unsatisfactory performance as a CFI. Yikes. And someone hired him after that. That is pretty crazy. This is a huge red flag. So, flight instructors, guys, we get fired all the time. We get fired for making this mistake, doing that, not doing this good enough, whatever. Like, I've seen some really good flight instructors been fired for mistakes that were preventable, but I've seen it happen. And this dude got fired from the place that he went to school at. And that is like, You had to really mess up for them to fire you, considering you went through your entire training there and they fired you. It's not like he just went to another school. They don't know who he is. He made a few mistakes and they're like, okay, let's get this guy out of here. He was here for years. Well, ATP, you're there for like 19 minutes, but he was there for a long time, right? And he got fired from this place. Massive red flag. I'm wondering what actually happened. Unsatisfactory performance as a CFI. I mean, knowing his attitude, he's probably taking shortcuts and probably being rude to students. Students were probably complaining about him. But yeah, takes a lot to get fired from a school that you went to school at. The night cross-country flight was the first time Quinsbury flew with McKellar. Okay, so as I suspected, that's his CFI was just filling in. According to Quinsbury's family, Bunn is colorblind, therefore he could not act as pilot in command on a night flight. The plan was to fly from Owensboro Davis County Regional Airport to Bowling Green Airport. McKellar documented the night flight through a series of photos and videos posting to his Snapchat. The post began with McKellar on camera, shaking his head with the caption, "Me and the students should..." Okay, we already seen this part. The video then flips around. Okay, we've seen this. We read about this, the Forrest Gump joke. The forecast for the area that night indicated the probability of thunderstorms. So this was definitely on a TAF or a METAR or something. Even the Daily would have picked up on this. The aircraft reached Bowling Green and made multiple circuits in the pattern, then headed back to Owensboro. All right, McKellar posted a Snapchat of the aircraft's flight path and approaching weather. Okay, piss off hornets. So, yeah. Prior knowledge, the lawsuit alleges that Eagle Flight Academy and ATP knew about McKellar's deficiency as an instructor, but did not take adequate remedial actions to address them. Okay, this is a massive... The way our system is set up is that we are forced most of the time. I mean, yeah, there's other places you can go, but we have to get 1,500 hours because a lot of us, not everyone, but a lot of us want to go to the airlines. So it forces people who don't want to be CFIs and who aren't properly equipped with the tools necessary to be a CFI, whether it's care, whether it's training, whatever. And then we're stuck with a lot of really bad CFIs that don't want to be there, but they're almost forced to be there because no other jobs are hiring us right now. So you get to this school and you have a bunch of crappy CFIs, or even CFIs that are just like giving you they're just half-assing it because they're like, I don't want to be here, but I'm just going to kind of skate through. And then you have other CFIs who are like bitter and angry. And then very rarely do you have the CFIs who are actually coming in clutch and they actually care about the students. They go the extra mile for their students. It's the way that the system is set up promotes this. It's actually ironically killing people, even though it's supposed to be a safety measure for the airlines or whatever. It's a political thing. I don't know. You guys leave in the comments below what that 1,500 hour thing is about. I heard some stuff about it, but we're not going to get into it here. So the system is kind of creating these CFIs, unfortunately. So if you have a CFI like this, okay, switch immediately. It's not worth ruining your training experience over, and it's definitely not worth dying over. So I'm not saying that if your flight instructor is rude or showing some negative character traits that you should just be like, okay, bye. We have bad days. We get frustrated. We're exhausted. We're overworked, and we're not paid very much. So we're going to have those days. That's not an excuse to treat your students like crap, however. So if you have an instructor like this, nix them. Move on to the next. I promise you there's better instructors out there who actually care. You just have to find them. Secondly, I take my job super seriously. I see these young kids who are just out of high school and 18 years old, and they're about to go into $100K worth of debt. They're sacrificing their time, their energy to pursue this career field, to pursue what is a better life for them, right? The finances, the security, the adventure. And I see that in them, and I'm like, overwhelmed with responsibility because they put so much trust in me that it's like shocking. And I just give them my all. I give them my life. I give them my time. I give them my energy. I give them my heart. I give them everything because they trust me with that. And it's a big deal. And it's something that I've never really experienced before. I'll give you guys a little backstory. I was a drill sergeant in the Army for 3 years. And that was stressful. And I thought that was a lot of responsibility, taking care of 30, 18, 20-year-olds at a time in my platoon. that was nothing compared to what I'm doing now with 10 students who are investing $100,000 into training and hoping for a better life. And you just have so much responsibility and you have so much control. Honestly, like an instructor has so much control over a student's training. If they're not paying attention, if they're negligent, if they're cutting corners, if they're slacking, lazy, skipping out on paperwork, teaching the students wrong, it'll mess you up as a student. And what sucks is that if you're taught wrong, there's something called the rule of primacy, meaning that what you were taught first is often what sticks in your brain. So I was taught things that were wrong, that to this day, I still have to work to get out of my brain because the rule of primacy is so insanely strong. So, main takeaways from this, okay, we talked about if you have a CFI that's like this, ditch them. Okay, if you are a CFI watching this, do your absolute best to provide the service to your students that they deserve. Okay, they trust you with their money, they trust you with their time, and they trust you with their energy. I know being a CFI is difficult sometimes, and I know you get overwhelmed, and I know that you're overworked, but this is temporary. We're not going to be here forever, but what is everlasting is the impression that you make upon those students, is the experience you give them. And that lasts a lifetime. And they will never forget that training experience that you gave them. So with that being said, this is a super, super frustrating video. I remember hearing about this a year ago and I was just absolutely shocked and I was absolutely disgusted. I was like a commercial student at the time or something. Unbelievable that these flight instructors exist like this, and I am super sorry to the family, and I hope you guys win this lawsuit. And very tragic, okay? All right, guys, I will see you for the next video, and leave a like and subscribe, and as Blanco Lirio says, see you there.